If you don't work towards good habits, you will fall into bad ones. Our human monkey brain often resorts to the pleasure principle, the instinctive seeking of pleasure and avoidance of pain. It doesn't matter how logical you are, it doesn't matter how much willpower or discipline you have, humans are just designed to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And we do have a lot of cheap pleasure in society nowadays. But there is something that will always overpower that pleasure-seeking drive we have as humans. And those are the habits that we create. Many good habits will change your life and also end up saving you a lot of time. Time is our most valuable non-renewable resource. You can always make more money, but you cannot create more time. So one thing I've learned as I've grown in fitness, business, and my overall personal development is that 90% of success really is just the habits and the mindset that you can create. To truly become something, you have to adopt the mindset of that type of person. This is why people who win the lottery often end up broke a few years later. It's because they haven't developed the mindset and the habits of someone who is a millionaire or very wealthy. To be a millionaire, you have to develop the mindset of a millionaire. To quit smoking, you have to develop the mindset and the habits of a non-smoker. So these are the 7 habits that have changed my life and saved me about 3 hours a day so I could live my life a whole lot more purposefully. And they've also helped me become more successful in my own health, wealth, relationships, and overall happiness. So habit number 1 is to gamify life. So this habit is more of a life philosophy rather than a specific time-saving habit, but I think it will set the stage for the rest of the habits that I will discuss. So think of life as a game. This really accomplishes 2 things. It focuses my time and energy on the things that actually matter, and it allows me to get through the frustrating, mundane, pointless, boring, or scary parts of life. So I'd estimate if I didn't have this sort of life philosophy, I'd probably be wasting at least an extra 20 minutes a day. So think back to my youth when I liked to play RuneScape. If you didn't play RuneScape, basically it's a game where you have a medieval type character in this mysterious world with dragons, magic, monsters, quests, random missions, and you can interact with other characters. You have different levels for your skills, ranging anywhere from 1 to 99. Some of these skills are like attack, defense, wood chopping, mining, hunting, farming, things like that. And I think of life the same way. You have a different set of skills in life. I like to categorize them into health, wealth, relationships, and general self or happiness. So underneath these categories, I have different areas of my life that I can improve. It can be my body fat, strength, cardio, savings, income, bond with my wife, strength of particular relationships, reading, spirituality, patience, attitude, self-control, kindness, etc. List goes on. So I actually think about this a lot. When I'm doing something I don't want to do, I think about how I'm leveling up my character and the virtues associated with that. Stuck in a boring work seminar or presentation? Congratulations, you're building up your patience. Got to break bad news? You're building courage, compassion, honesty. Alex Hormozy said it well, and I will paraphrase this, but if you had to create a human, what would you put them through to make them tough? It probably would not be a chill life. So you must pay the price tag of what you're going through in order to become the person that you want to be. So not to be morbid, but I also think about my deathbed, the moment of life where everything flashes before my eyes, all the things that I've done and the things that I became and all the things that I could have been. And in that moment, I realize what's important. And it's the levels and those things that matter to me. I won't care about how many funny memes I saw or how many TikToks I watched or my watch time on my phone and random things like that. So throughout the day, I always think, is what I'm doing right now progressing me towards the person that I want to become and want to be in this moment? Is this the life experience I want to have? This ensures that I don't waste time on things that don't actually matter and don't drive me towards my greater purpose. And beyond that, I'm building up my virtues so I can endure some of those hard times or mindless, mundane tasks. Med school. Habit number 2 is reminders and lists. All right, second habit I've gotten into is a little bit more straightforward and simple than the first one, and that is to set reminders and have lists. I'd say this one saves me about 10 minutes a day, at least physically, but mentally a whole lot more just because of mental load. So this has 2 parts. First, picture a day that is very busy. You wake up in the morning, you go to gym, you go to work, you prepare your lunch, you have a bunch of meetings all day, you let out the dog, you make dinner, work on a side hustle, spend some time with your wife. You are busy all day, don't have time to think. So as I'm going through my day in situations like that, I have a lot of random things that pop up in my head. I whip out my phone, record a voice note to myself, or type a quick reminder. It can be a brilliant life-changing business idea, a video idea, a task that I need to remember to do, or just a random thought I had that I want to reflect on. Your brain only has so much it can hold on to. Write yourself some reminders. And with that, you just want to avoid decision fatigue. All these things crowding up your brain will cause decision fatigue. Oftentimes at the end of the day, you're not tired just physically. A lot of it is just mental. Making decisions, choosing what to do, choosing what to eat, waiting in traffic. This is a big reason why people tend to fall off diets or resort to bad habits at night, later in the day. It's because they've had a bunch of decision fatigue throughout the day and their brain just on autopilot and just chooses whatever easy option is for them. And a lot of that is related to that pleasure principle of the monkey brain we talked about earlier. So I gotta write stuff down. If I don't write something down, I'm gonna forget it. And a lot of my best ideas just come when I'm going through the mundane parts of the day. The second part of this is having lists to save time. So I use the Notes app in my phone for video ideas, restaurants I wanna try, date night ideas, even like books I wanna read or TV shows I wanna watch. If you come across something, don't just park it in your head, throw it in a list. Now you'll have things to review when you wanna try out a new restaurant or try a new book to read. So reminders and lists truly change the game. Make sure you try them out. Habit number 3, plan ahead. So on to habit number 3, which saves me about 60 minutes a day, is plan ahead. This is especially important as a business owner where I pretty much have control over my entire day and where and when I want to schedule things. But it is still important for any normal person going through a normal day. But I'd still say this is important for most people. And it really can be simplified as just living more purposefully. If I don't plan, make a to-do list, do things at certain times, I'm gonna procrastinate. So this brings me to Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law is the old adage that work expands to fill the time allotted for it. So deadlines cause procrastination or even prompt people to fill in their time with random, mundane, trivial tasks that don't get them to their end goal. So there's a classic example of this, and it's a woman who had to mail a postcard. This is a task that would take a normal person a few minutes, but this woman, it takes her all day. She spends an hour finding the card, another half hour looking for her glasses, 90 minutes writing the card, trying to find the perfect words for it, another 20 minutes trying to decide if she should bring an umbrella to go mail the card, on and on and on until the day is filled just trying to mail a postcard. So for me, I write down how long I think tasks will take. I usually err on the side of shorter rather than longer just because of this law. Another part of planning ahead is just planning things to be more in line with the goals and my purpose. So if I have a bigger picture goal, let's say paying off the rest of a car. Let's say that you have $15,000 to pay off your car and you want to do it by the end of the year. It's January 1st, for example. So break that down into chunks. You have this $15,000 goal at the end of the year. How much extra do you need to pay each month? How much extra do you need to pay each week? Now knowing how much extra you need to pay each week, how are you going to make that money in order to pay that off? So now you could schedule these smaller tasks in your week, all coming together towards the bigger picture goal. So planning your day even like a puzzle kind of maximizes work-life balance too, because now you could schedule time with friends and family. You could schedule time for yourself to go read a book or go to the gym or take care of yourself. It's scheduled in already. It works for me, so try planning ahead like that. Habit number 4, phone tactics. So with habit number 3, I explained how planning ahead helps me avoid procrastinating on trivial tasks. And habit number 4 will be the most trivial thing that we waste our time with, so we gotta learn to manage our phone. These phone tactics probably save me around 30 minutes a day, mostly from procrastination. Phones are great, don't get me wrong. They literally revolutionize the way we live, in many good ways, but also many bad ways too. For one, just being a huge distraction, and 2, a time sink. You could say, oh, time is not wasted on my phone if I'm enjoying it. And while I do agree, most of the time you're spending on your phone is not purposeful. Everyone is guilty of our phones distracting us from what we actually want to do. I can't tell you how many times I have a particular thing I want to do, I end up opening my phone and spending extra time watching stories or scrolling or replying to some notification that was not important or urgent. So I'm pretty much always in some sort of do not disturb or focus mode. The only notifications I allow are from my wife and my parents. And even the wife one is iffy because I'm going to get some random TikTok that is funny or relatable or a random listing of a house in a city that I will never live in. So an extra layer of that is to always have my phone face down just so it doesn't capture my attention. I'll always also have my phone slightly out of reach just so it's not visible in my eyesight. And that's because phones just seem less threatening when they're out of sight, out of mind, and also face down. When I do find myself looking at my phone more often than I'd like, I've installed this accessibility feature called grayscale, which I'm sure you've seen. Basically, I press the side button or the home button 3 times and it turns the phone into black and white. You'd honestly be so surprised how little you like your phone when it is in black and white. It is bizarre. I just don't even want to use it. So you could try grayscale or get a flip phone, although that is the nuclear option. But if you want to go another option, there's an app called OneSec. Basically what OneSec does, you install it, you could install it to show up on certain apps. So when you click on an app that is like a trigger app, say Instagram or TikTok or something like that, it creates a little gap from when you click the app until when the app opens, causing you to take a deep breath, make you think, do I actually need to be on this app right now? Sometimes you may realize, no, I don't need to, and you'll scroll out, you'll be gone. If not, you can just wait the few seconds and then be on the app. You gotta make that pleasure-seeking monkey brain a little rational for a second. Habit number 5 is the spiritual habit. So some habits are for saving time, and some are for leveling up so you can better delegate and use your time effectively in things that are important to you. And this is one of those habits. So I think everyone should have some sort of spirituality practice. And you don't have to be religious or follow something woo-woo spiritual to take advantage of this. Hear me out. I easily remove like 20 minutes a day of stress just by a habit like this, but over the course of a lifetime, I think it's infinitely more. And this mainly comes from a mindset component and just reframing your worldview. So I'm Greek Orthodox Christian. I prefer to pray. You can do some sort of mindfulness practice, a meditation, a structured daydream. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this. But let me explain. So I know so many people nowadays that cannot just sit and do nothing. This is more common in the younger generations. Think about like those iPad kids that always need the stimulation of an iPad. This happens to adults too. A lot of people as they go about their day, they always need to have headphones in, listening to music, an audiobook, a podcast. Some people just are cooking in the kitchen and they just have the TV on, blaring something. So when you aren't constantly stimulated by something, media or whatever it is, you're often left alone with your thoughts. And for many people that can't control it or aren't left alone with them very often, they could spiral into very negative thinking. So prayer, meditation, mindfulness, they allow you to be more comfortable with these negative thoughts when they come up, and you just brush them off, go on, think about positive things. So in the case of meditation or mindfulness, you can become more resilient to them, or in the case of prayer as well, you could do that too, but also just kind of leave them to a higher power and realize that you don't need to worry. These practices are helpful in allowing you to trust that everything is going to be okay and you're right where you need to be. So this is also to highlight the power of having a positive attitude. And let me tell you the power of thoughts and words. Let's talk about Japanese scientist Dr. Emoto, who who devoted his life towards researching water. Yes, water. Dr. Emoto did experiments when he said positive words to certain groups of water like beauty, love, happiness, and negative words to other groups of water like evil, disgust, hatred. And over time, he looked at the water under a microscope, found that the water that experienced positive words formed beautiful, symmetrical crystals, and the water that experienced negative words was fragmented, chaotic, no real structure to it. This also extends to experiments with plants. Similar structure here. There were certain sets of plants that experienced positive emotions and thoughts, and certain set of plants that experienced negative emotions and thoughts from an experimenter. The plants that experienced positive thoughts grew beautiful, big, nice plants. The plants that experienced negative thoughts withered away. A lot of them died or just didn't thrive in general. So your thoughts and energy are powerful. With a prayer, spirituality, or mindfulness practice, you will hardwire yourself to think positive thoughts, leading to similar positive outcomes in your environment and your own life experience. So habit number 6 is called efficient, not perfect. This habit literally forms the basis of a lot of my personality, and it is called efficient, not perfect. Saves me about 20 minutes a day. So the premise of this is that perfectionism is the enemy of productivity. Trying to do something perfectly just takes extra time and energy. There are probably a lot of things that you're procrastinating on right now just because you think you need to do them perfectly. So decide which activities in your life deserve your best effort, and then make it a habit to avoid the time suck of perfectionism for a less important or critical task. For example, it makes sense to put in extra effort towards painting the room that you're going to be living in for years, but it makes less sense to fold something perfectly that's just going to be thrown in a closet for you not to take out until next Christmas. Another example, you may think that you cannot run the dishwasher or throw in a load of laundry just because it's not full yet. A common misconception is thinking, oh, I can't run the dishwasher yet. It's not full. I'll just wait until tomorrow when it is full. The result is unwashed dishes leading to a pile up or a need for items that are currently in the dishwasher. The solution is just run the dishwasher, unload it in the morning, and just fill it up again throughout the day. It's not crucial to wait till the perfect full load. By establishing a regular routine, you could avoid dishes piling up on the rack, and now you'll just be able to find a convenient time to run the dishwasher to avoid any procrastination and perfectionism. Another example from my past. Let us go back to med school. One nice thing about med school is that many curriculums, especially in the preclinical years, are pass-fail. So the percentage of some classes to pass are like, some of them could be like 66%. So for my school, a 66% for some blocks was literally the same thing as 96%. You passed. Congrats. So why would I spend 40 hours studying for a 95% when I can spend 20 hours studying for a 75%? It will literally take double the time in order to get like a 15 or 20% extra grade that won't even end up mattering. So my time was just best used somewhere else. Give yourself permission to do things efficiently and not perfectly, and I guarantee you will be able to free yourself from a buildup of tasks and mental load that we've been talking about. So habit number 7 is the 3-minute rule. This is a logical segue from efficient, not perfect, and this saves me about 20 minutes a day, and I would say that is quite a liberal estimate. This rule has a few different components. First one is, if I'm struggling to do something, I could just get started for 3 minutes. For example, cleaning my house. I just set a timer for 3 minutes, do as much as I can in those 3 minutes. And then after those 3 minutes are done, you could stop if you want to. First off, you'd be honestly really surprised with how much you could get done if you cram everything into 3 minutes, kind of like Parkinson's law we talked about earlier. But oftentimes afterwards, that activation energy was the hardest part, and you'll just keep going. So the theory behind this is that the hardest part of something is always just getting started, that initial activation energy. And it always beats that procrastination because you're only committing yourself to a small portion of it. This habit really helps with discipline and actually getting things done. And the second aspect of this, if something takes less than 3 minutes, I just do it immediately. All these micro tasks of replying to an email, texting back a friend, picking up my clothes, they all just take up mental load in your head. As I've said, a lot of fatigue is really just mental fatigue. So just doing these 3-minute tasks actually frees up a whole lot of headspace and pushes your life forward in the direction that you want it to. This was honestly how I was an absolute unit in med school, trying to balance a business, school, wife, friends, social obligations. I was a task machine getting those 3-minute tasks done so they didn't pile up. So overall, the estimate is 3 hours a day saved on these 7 habits. These really add a whole lot more purpose and value in my life, and I would encourage you to try them too, so you can do the same. Drop a like if you found any of these helpful, and let me know what you might try and incorporate in your life, or if you have any suggestions for me. If you are interested in more tips in becoming a top-tier human, subscribe for some more videos, or fill out my one-on-one coaching application if you are interested in taking your health and physique to the next level. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.